Hello everybody. I'm out here, this is midweek, and it's a quiet day. We have tourists that are out. A couple of them just walked off. They parked in the parking lot behind and they're going to walk the trail. There's lots of simple trails here. If you just want to get out and walk and be in nature, it's something you can do. And I'm going to start off by just giving you a bit of a word from Jesus. After pretty much everything was over with and he's kind of got everybody together, he starts off with little children. This is in John 13, 30 something, I don't know. Little children, I'm only with you for a little while longer. And you will look for me and you won't find me. Toot, toot. And where I'm going, you cannot go. Cannot come. Later on we will, but back then, no. So I wanted to leave with you a new commandment. Jews are familiar with commandments. They started off with 10. They ended up with hundreds because of the religious leaders. But Jesus himself, they got a dog too. Okay, cool. Jesus is giving this commandment to them. So I give you a new commandment. I want you to love one another as I have loved you. And we know from him washing their feet at the Last Supper to all the things that they've seen him do, all out of love. He said, I want you to love one another as I have loved you. This way, the world you will know that you are my disciples, that you love one another. Straightforward, no parables. This was something God was giving them as a final goodbye, if you will. Now, he's not gone yet, and there's still going to be people see him. There's still events, but this is towards the end. We still have that commandment in place. It's not been rescinded. It's still there. They will know we are his disciples by our love. You might even put that to song. This time of year, the Christmas season, it's a season where we can freely show that love, at least for a little while longer, because we're still here. The world will turn that off eventually, or at least redirect it to the Antichrist. But for now, it's still in place for the real Christ. Love one another. Do things out of love. Do things not for self-gain. We bought all these presents for people, to give to people for Christmas. Some people did. Sometimes too many. You've seen who's making all the noise over there. Somebody's making noise. There are people out there that are never satisfied. You can't give them enough because they're into material things so heavily. There are people that are working 2-3 jobs so they can buy the worldly things that they need. It's not necessary. I only worked 3 days last year. I'm still here. And I still would love to lose a little bit more weight, so I'm eating fine. God and I play a little game a lot, and he's good at it. It's called timing. Let's say something came up and I needed $200 tomorrow and I don't have it. But I needed it. It's something important, something I can't put off. It could be as little as 1 minute before I have to push the button to send the money. Something will come up, ding, on my phone. I'll look over. You just got a payment. He likes playing that game with me. Take you right up to the edge. I'm not asking for money. I'm giving you a story of how God works. The one thing we shouldn't be doing while we're waiting for God to answer our prayers is to be worried that He's not going to answer them. He will. If it's something that you need. If it's something you want, don't hold your breath, but He still wants to please us. But the bottom line is, He's already planned out what He's going to do back before we were even born. This is all planned. That's why He knows everything. There's somebody pulling out behind me. There it goes, car. I'm watching two, I don't know, I guess those might be hawks flying over there together. God knows that they're over there flying. Has He provided them with lunch? He cares about everything on this planet. So I'm sure He has. It's not what you give. It's the motivation behind it. If you give out of love, then it will be received that way. And if you get nothing else in return, that's kind of a definition of love, isn't it? Giving something without expecting anything in return. These times are hard on people. You'd like to spend it with loved ones. Maybe family members have died and aren't with us anymore. If they're Christians, they're up there. They may or may not be watching. I don't know what we get to see up there. We will eventually get to see them. When we all pass on, we will all go, as Christians, all go to heaven. But if there's people down here that we know that are friends and relatives that aren't Christian, out of love, you've got to tell them what they're in for. Now, out of love doesn't mean you go up and you punch them in the face and you say, you're going to listen to me if I have to sit on you. That's not love. Well, it's called tough love sometimes, but true love will allow you to talk to them and not make them feel bad. Now, they may not accept what you're telling them, but they will listen, and they will put it in their heart and maybe keep it for a later date. And they may get to a point where they're in trouble, and they're going to come to you and ask for help, because they know they can come to you and they're not going to get punched in the face or yelled at or whatever. You've got to go softly to people. Now, there are those out there that don't, that are loud and boisterous, and they seem overconfident, and they may live in a big house and drive a fancy car and tell you that they got there because of their confidence. Their God. Well, money can be a god too. I'm an example that you can get by with minimal and be happy, which I am. Sometimes things come up when you run on the minimum. You just pick up all the cards, shuffle them, and deal a new deck. It's the same cards, you just get another shot at it. Same goes with bills. If you got bills and you can't pay one, you pay all that you can. If you can't pay one, you skip it for a little bit. You don't skip it for very long. You defer it. Or if you can pay partial, you pay a partial. You do what you can. God knows our needs. He knows your needs. Don't sweat it. Don't aggravate the situation and just say, I'm just going to refuse to pay this bill from now on. I'm not going to pay it anymore. Well, if it's a service you're using, you have to pay it. But if you can cancel the service, tell them, I'll make payments on the balance. They may not like it. They may threaten you. But for me, what are they going to do? Take away my birthday? I'm retired. I don't do that. But I'm telling people that you have options. And the biggest option is to look at what you're buying. Oh, but I can't do without Netflix. Yes, you can. Oh, I can't not stop off for a drink on the way home. Yes, you can. I can't stop eating at restaurants. I love eating at restaurants. Yes, you can. Learn to cook. My palate is very expensive. I love eating at the most expensive restaurants in the town. I can't afford to eat at them, so I learned to cook like they do. There are recipes, there are chefs. Jacques Pepin, the French chef, or I guess that's Julia Child. She's the French chef. He's a good cook, good chef. You can find out how to cook just about any meal you can think of online. Learn to do it and you can save money. 9 times out of 10, it's cheaper to cook at home than to eat out, unless there's some kind of a special deal. I go to Subway Sandwich here in town. I like their sandwiches. But I'll wait. I know they know people are doing this, but I'll wait for the BOGOs. Buy one, get one free. Do the same at the market. I keep telling you to be prepping. Have food stores ready to last for a month or two, because you don't know how long it's going to take for the world to collapse and for us to be rescued. You say, I can't afford to buy any more. If you buy only BOGOs, you can afford to buy more. Go buy the one and get the second one free. I don't care if you don't like honey roasted oysters. Learn to like them if they're on sale. Buy the store brand. You don't have to spend money on the main label. 9 times out of 10, again, I'm giving this anecdotally because I don't know. I've seen videos on this and watched shows on it. The store brands are the main brand. They just put a different label that goes through a different line at the manufacturing plant. It's the same product. Now, the store brand might be the cheaper version of the main brand. The main brand might have a good version, a gourmet version, and an average version. It's not going to be the gourmet. It's going to be the average. But it's edible. Now, most processed food's not good for you in the long run. But we're talking about a month or two. We're not talking about your life. But if you're buying something and you're buying for your family, try to buy as many BOGOs as possible. Use coupons if they've got them. Now, you got to get things that have coupons in them, but a lot of times there's electronic coupons now. The BOGOs at Subway only work through my Subway app. So I order it. I may pull into the parking lot, sit there, pull up the Subway app, and order it. You can do that. And it'll tell you when it's ready, and you get out and walk in. The banks fired, this was on End Time News. They said the banks fired 60,000 workers last year. What do they know that we don't? Now, my bank, I bank with Ally Bank. I got them, one reason in mind is because they don't have branches. So they go around the world. I got it so that my son would have an account with them as well, and I could send him money whenever he needed it, especially when he's traveling, when he goes over to Peru. He's still a teenager. He's smart, but he's a teenager. He doesn't have enough life experiences to prepare him for the world. So I keep a way that we can send money back and forth. And we do it online. I can go to anybody's teller machine. Doesn't matter. Within reason, I suppose. And I can make a withdrawal. And the fee is covered by the bank. So I don't have to pay the fee. It's like I went to one of their tellers, but they don't own any tellers. We're all going to go to digital money whether you like it or not. We should be out of here before we have to worry about the mark of the beast. But they're going to digital money. The world is being set up right now for the Antichrist. He's not the Antichrist yet. He's probably here. He's one of the 7 kings. But he hasn't been killed yet. Somebody will kill him. And when he comes back, he'll be the Antichrist. But we haven't seen that yet. The chessboard is almost ready, folks. 2003 is a setup year. Getting everything in place. Hamas was a pawn in the chess game over in the Middle East. Hezbollah is starting to chime in. They've recently increased their rocket attacks. And they've got thousands and thousands and thousands more rockets than Hamas. Now, are they trying to deplete the stores of anti-missile rockets that Israel has? It's possible. The United States is balking on some of the replenishing that they said they would do. If the United States stops helping, they're helping with contingencies now. They're trying to, and they're not being honored. I'll give you this, but you've got to do this. You've got to have a 2-state solution. It's never going to work. You can't have Satan and the Spirit of God living in the same place. It won't work. Jesus said so. We're getting real close, guys. You know, we keep saying this, but we've been saying it for, 7 years since the Revelation 12 sign? Which some say it wasn't the sign because nothing's happened. Where does it say after the Revelation 12 sign, it's got to happen tomorrow? God does things in 7s. Next year will be the 7th year. Possible. All the holidays that our rapture predictors were predicting that we just blew through this year, they're going to repeat again next year. So if it is going to happen on one of those holidays, we've got another year to go. We have an election next year. An election in which the people that are in charge are so ruthless and despicable. Satan's gone to prepare their mansion in hell. Not the other way around. Not God's mansions, but mansions in hell. They're earning them right now. That's how bad they are. And they're in power. And they don't want to give up that power. So what's going to happen next year? They know that they got to pull the trigger before that moment. Get out there and love one another while you have time. Because we are running out of time. Prep, because we don't know how long we've got. Don't go build a bomb shelter. That's unnecessary. If it gets to that point, we'll be out of here. But you might have to go for a week, a month, maybe 2 or 3 even, without the infrastructure around you working. What if the bank shut down now and you had no money, no access to money? And you got 1 can of beans in the shelf because you're not listening. Be difficult. You should have enough food to last your family for 2 to 3 months. It doesn't have to be the best. It can be, beans and rice will work. It's worked for people before. Just protect it, put it in a good spot, make sure the rats can't get to it. Make sure you have water. People coming back now. All right. How are we doing on time? Yeah, it's about the same amount of time. I'm going to tack a little bit at the end. It was really cool this morning when I got up. Beautiful looking through the fog-filled trees. Have a blessed time this time of year. It's really special. It's possible it's the last Christmas for Christians. But be ready. Prep a little bit. But more important, love one another. It's our last real commandment. Blessing. So cool walking around and looking through the trees and seeing the fog. We could film a Stephen King video out here. Scary, huh? It's just the normal campsite. Somewhere up there in that little bright yellow thing right there is the sun. It's not quite over the trees yet, but you can see it. But this is really cool. It's cool out right now, but not cold. And because we just had rain for a couple of days, it's like this. I did have a good time with my son. We had our traditional meal. So this is getting back to normal. But this isn't normal. Not here, but it's fun. Have a blessed day.